Oops. Get out of there. Come on now. There we go. All right. We are live. It is Rudy G. Funk Show. Gonna talk some Browns, drink some beer. It is the great pleasure to be here. We got the Fatheads Imperial Stout. Now, I did announce a milk stout earlier in the week, but it's actually a coffee stout. I guess I messed up a little bit. Talking to a few friends, we had talked about milk stouts. Joey and I and Roach had talked about milk stouts, how they thought they were good. And my buddy had mentioned an imperial stout, which I thought was a milk stout. But when I went there, it's called Beam Me Up. It's a coffee stout. So, my bad on that, but, my bad twice, actually, because I kind of accidentally tried it last night, which, sounds retarded, but I wound up trying them last night, and I'm going to retry them again today. It's good. I really do like it. It's a little bit too much alcohol for me. Which kind of makes me sound like a puss. But when I'm tasting alcohol in my drink, I'm tasting. I'm not thinking about the beer so much. So it's like 8.4, which is, I don't know, 3 or 4 more than that Great Lakes that I had just tried last week. Very good taste though. I mean, it wasn't bad by any means. $10 a 4-pack, for these 12-ounce, 12-ounce bottles, it's pretty small, but they pack it in the ass, man. I mean, I had 2 of them, and I was gonna, it was pretty quick on the old buzz factor. So it's not something I necessarily want to be out drinking or anything, but I do prefer to have more than 2. Like I said, I always buy a 12-pack in case I want to have 7. I might stop at 4. I might stop at 7. Last week, believe it or not, I drank 8 of those Great Lakes, the oatmeal stout. And those are really good. I was really, really very impressed with those. They were really easy to drink. They were really, the finish, like the last drink in the glass was brilliant, I thought. And I'm not anywhere close to being any kind of expert. I don't actually believe that, but I was very impressed. It was a very good beer. And this is a very good beer too. Let me get my stupid glass out of the fucking way. And that's kind of what it looks like there. But you gotta love Fathead's name. It's just a cool name. The Beam Me Up, it's cool. I haven't read. Let's read the old bottle, huh? We crafted this out of this weird brew with cold extracted dark roast coffee to boldly go where no beer has gone before. Rich roasted malt, semi-sweet chocolate dominate, balanced by a hint of bitterness and a creativity almost cappuccino-like mouth feel. So, I would definitely say that's a pretty good description of it. And sorry I got on so late. But it's just kind of how it happens. Goldhammer actually really promotes the Fathead products, which I think we got a couple of them in North Ridgeville or something like that. So they're around. They're restaurants. But this was yesterday was my first try of it. So let's open her up, give it a smell. Trusty bottle opener. Bam. Love that sound, right? Yeah, and it does smell good. It's really very quite attractive by smell. So let's look at its body, shall we? Take a look at her body. Ooh. I like to give it a little bit of a feverish pour at the end to get a nice big head. Well, they look smaller than they're, this is a pretty tall draft glass. But it's still a pretty decent portion. Just, $10 for a 4-pack. You do get what you pay for, so it's not like, it's by no means garbage. It's a really good beer, and it really smells good. But it's just alcohol wise is a little bit heavier than I want to drink, or I want to have a few, or more than a few, for that matter. But it is a really good beer. They're right what everybody says about it. It's really good, and it's nice and dark. It isn't as easy to drink as the Great Lakes was, but like I said, I think that's just the volume of alcohol in it that just kind of makes me want to hold back a little bit. So let's give her another test smell first. But it's pretty good, pretty nice head on that. If you're like I am, and you're really attracted to those the good webbing of beers. Pardon me, I gotta let my dog out. So, get out of here. All right. There you go. Now, by no means is the alcohol overwhelming. It's not particularly, it's not that bad. It's just, I think because I drank the two of them so close together that I really do compare them, that I really did like the Great Lakes. It's for me, I really did like the Great Lakes oatmeal stout better. But it is tasty. It is very tasty. You can see, oh yeah. One thing I do like about both of these beers is you could see you could see some of the ingredients kind of mixing back in as you're drinking it, and you're putting it back down, and you're emptying the glass, and you're getting down to the last drink. It's pretty good beer. I do like it. Quick punch though, pretty quick jab on it, but it's good. I would not buy these, despite $10 isn't a lot of money. It's not like we're in the poorhouse or anything. But you think if you go to a bar, you're gonna pay what, $8 for one of these or something like that, which is probably pretty expensive. I would say it could be $10 for one of them. But and if you're getting 4 of them for 10, it's still a pretty good value. But I do like them. I just have, like I said, nothing against this, and a lot of guys like to drink that. They want to get kind of punched pretty quick, and you do get punched, in my opinion, pretty quick in this, which could be good for you. So you might like it better than I do. But it is very tasty, and it really does grab the glass well, as you can probably see a little bit there. Yeah, that's good stuff there. But one more time, just not as easy to drink as the oatmeal stout was from Great Lakes. And I think they probably did that on purpose, so the drinkability was a little better. But besides the things that I said that I might not like about it, it's not going to stop me from drinking it. It's a good beer. It's very tasty. So, and once again, I got to give a shout out to Greg's Beer Reviews, the dude out of West Virginia. And he's got, like I said, if you guys are really looking for stuff to try, this dude has tried like 3,300 beers or something. He's got them all on YouTube. So, go check his stuff out, because he's a real cool, nice guy. And, yeah, that's about it, I think, on that for right now. But we're about 3 or 4 swigs in. And it's pretty good. But what I did want to talk about Browns-wise was the Stumbler and I were talking earlier in the week after hearing some of the stuff that Dorsey had said. And he was talking about how he was looking for a defensive tackle or something like that was longer and had a bigger wingspan and was quick and could get off the line quicker. And it just I couldn't help but, because I'm a Carl Nassib fan, I couldn't help but think of him, that maybe getting rid of him was a mistake. And I know it's it's old news or whatever. I just think that's I thought that peculiar that he was specifically seemed to be looking for somebody Carl Nassib type, and it just seemed like one of the reasons I really stick up for Carl Nassib because it seemed like the media was trying to push him out of here ever since camp started and the hard knocks and him calling him and Todd didn't seem to really get along because they were hitting the quarterback more than Todd thought they should have in camp. So I just think it's too bad that they might have gotten rid of him thinking just because he wasn't getting along with Todd Haley or something like that, that they were quick to cut him. Because I really did like him. I think he is still to this day raw and has a lot more football under his belt. And it's just too bad that we let him go and Tampa got him. And I still got this really bad feeling that Pittsburgh's going to wind up with him somehow because that's the kind of, when we drafted him, in my opinion, he seemed like that Pittsburgh type guy, not just because he's from Penn State, but just that raw ball awareness. To this day, he's still recovering fumbles, and he just seems to always be around the ball. And sure, does he miss tackles with running backs and receivers that might be more wily than him? That's a lot of people in the league. So I really think it's too bad, and I do think it's peculiar that he's kind of hinting around to wanting a Carl Nassib type guy. Now, I don't do this, and by no means am I anti John Dorsey by any means. I mean, the dude, in my opinion, if anybody's got the Belichickian kind of thought, that whole doing the right thing, more often than not, or as many times as you can. I just think I think there's a slight possibility that there was a what would you call that? Seller's remorse, would you call it? By getting Nassib. It could just be wishful thinking because I am a Carl Nassib fan, and unless he's playing us, I just want the dude to do well. So I just thought that interesting, and let me know what you guys think if you were ready to get rid of Carl Nassib, because because the media was. If you remember training camp, they were big on, almost weekly on whether they get rid of Carl Nassib or not, which I thought was interesting, because I think I do believe that the media had something against him because of how he was with them. He didn't seem as cooperative as they would like, and it always seems like they always kind of would slight him, which is natural. Somebody rubs you the wrong way, you kind of you hesitate to compliment, you do all kinds of stuff that humans do, So I just wanted to touch on that with you guys a little bit and see if you guys had heard what he said about getting longer on the line, and it did remind me of the Carl Nassib and Meter and Brantley when they got rid of those guys. But Carl Nassib especially, because I thought he was the better of the three. And a lot of the stuff, if you were watching our live streams while we were playing, we were finding out a lot of stuff that, Garrett and Ogunjobi, but these guys are playing like 98% of the snaps and stuff like that. So they weren't really getting any relief plays, which, of course, you just speculate that as the season goes on and they're playing so much, you're going to start naturally as a human being self-manage yourself a little bit. And I don't want to say taking plays off or anything like that, but, it's just kind of natural when you're getting all that wear and tear in such a short time period. I think it's probably only like I said, I'm just speculating. I haven't heard any of this. It's just an appraisal of what we saw kind of happening to the defense that we thought was going to be spectacular. And they did start off well with all the turnovers and all that stuff. But I thought that very interesting, especially after getting rid of those guys. So I don't mean to keep kicking a dead horse with that. I just thought that interesting. And Stumbler thought that interesting as well. And I'm sorry that the Stumbler's not here to join me this evening. But I do have another friend right here. And it is pretty good beer. I do like it. It's very tasty. Isn't much different than the oatmeal stout, to be honest with you. It seemed the oatmeal had a lot of the same type ingredients. They were very, very similar. I think only the keen beer drinker taster, maybe Greg would notice the difference between the two. But on another note, Common Man Football had a live stream today, kind of a Q&A with his subscribers, which was really cool. As far as I saw, it was the first one he ever did, so I'm glad he entered the live stream world and started doing that, where people could ask him questions, how he comes to stuff, and his analytics, and some of the guys that he likes. I just kind of popped in and out because I was at work and I didn't want to take too much DAT, off the old DAT pack. So I was just kind of popping in every once in a while, but it looked like it went well. He got a lot of views, and that's really cool, and I hope that's good for him, and I hope hopefully people are joining this Patreon and getting him some more money and freeing up, and that way hopefully this year, like I said, I emailed him how much I missed those team versus analytics they would do. I just thought it was just a excellent study. So hopefully that comes to fruition, and everybody goes there and gives a dude a little shout out, or joins his Patreon, for some better content or whatever. I do want to go back on the AFC North quarterbacks. I do want to talk more about them, and sometimes when I'm doing a live feed, I used to take notes before I would do a video or something like that, which is, it's a very smart idea to do that. And I kind of got away from that a little bit, which is, kind of dumb on my part. But I did want to talk about Mason Rudolph and what the Browns media seems to expect if Ben should ever leave or retire or anything of that nature. It seems they don't really think too much of him, which I guess it just surprises me because I watch so much of his stuff, so much of his verses on, all his verses stuff is on YouTube. So if you ever want to check him out, or if you disagree with me, but you haven't watched much of him, he's got a lot of good, a lot of these top quarterbacks, they got a lot of stuff on YouTube, a lot of versus stuff. So they're pretty efficient watches when you go versus as opposed to watching a whole game. I mean, I'm all about watching a whole game, but sometimes I want to watch 10 games in a night, and if you're going at 5, 6, 7 minutes a pop, it's a lot easier to just go through it in an hour and accumulate the analysis, in a little bit more efficient window. So yeah, I did want to talk about Mason Rudolph, and if you remember, my number one, the first video I ever did, it was kind of a scurry, because I didn't really have my shit together, and you get nervous when you turn the camera on the first time, just kind of go, duh, you turn it on and you know what the fuck to say. But, which I'm guessing probably a lot of YouTubers go through. Thank God mine was really small, my window of nervousness, I think. But my pick, my quarterback pick was to go Mason Rudolph late in the first round. It was when I was thinking Saquon Barkley, like a lot of other people were, and quarterback, I was thinking about Mason Rudolph with that fourth pick, which sounds utterly ridiculous now because he went 72 or something like that, which I was shocked. But I did want to show you guys, just to get a numerical. Pardon me, the dog must come in. Come on. Good boy. Right, all the way down, knucklehead. All right, just to give you a better look, kind of what Common Man Football does. Bring out the old Pro Bowl number so you can see that. Oh, they're shiny. There we go. Okay. Now, if you haven't watched my Dorsey's analytics video, I'll just do a quick rehash of Common Man Football's numbers, his analytics. Oh, I dripped. But anyway, these are his Pro Bowl thresholds. And I think that's high school and college. How they did in high school numerically and how they did in college numerically. If you're looking for Pro Bowl thresholds analytically, those are the numbers right there. So I just kind of wanted to show you, 84 and 80. Now look at Mason Rudolph's numbers right here. See those? If you haven't watched them, those are his numbers, which are really close to being like elite numbers there. I'm not going to show you anymore. I just wanted to give you guys a numerical value of how efficient he was as a quarterback in high school, and pretty good in high school and pretty damn good in college too. His numbers weren't good as Baker's, but he was pretty close. I'll show you Baker's real quick if you guys want to see those. As you can see, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Common Man Football had Mason as his third ranking quarterback numerically. Okay, there's Baker's numbers, which are pretty goddamn good too. Look at that. Those are good. But, Mason Rudolph, a little lesser, but still very, very impressive, efficient, productive, very productive numbers. So I just wanted to show those again, in case you might have been thinking the same thing about Mason Rudolph. Well, I don't really think he was too much, and I wasn't too impressed in preseason, which, who knows what Pittsburgh does in preseason. They just let him go out there and struggle. Do they throw him the wolves a little bit? I'm not trying to be a jerk towards Pittsburgh or anything, but who knows what? Like I noticed when Josh Dobbs went out, he threw an interception. When Mason Rudolph went out, he threw an interception. It was like almost the same play. So I can't remember who they were playing, but it was obvious they knew what play they were going to do. Not that they were cheating, but they at least read the play, the defense pretty easily and snatched almost the same identical throw from both of them. So, and I'm not saying neither one of them were prepared, but I don't think particularly either one of them looked that spectacular in preseason. So, I don't know how much. How do I say this without sounding like a fucking clown? How much value they give to preseason. If it's just about get out there, get some experience, under your belt. I'm not really sure how Pittsburgh really views this. I know Tomlin takes development very seriously, but preseason as a whole, everything just kind of gets generalized, I think, as not being much of a game, obviously, and who knows how Pittsburgh takes that. I'd like to see how Ben did his first year, to be honest with you. I don't recall. I don't think people watched preseason back then or something. Who knows? Maybe they didn't even have it. I don't even know. But I'm slightly joking there. But back on what they did with Ben when he took over for Matlock, it was pretty simple ball. It was dink and dunk. It was handed off, and Pittsburgh was a pretty strong team at the time. So it's not like they were, us or the Jets or Cardinals or anything like that. They weren't like some struggling team or anything. They were pretty solid. So they seemed to take it pretty easy on Ben. Not that he had an easy time. He won 11 straight. Like I said, I'm just trying to go through what had happened with him during that transition. So I guess my point is I think our media seems to think that once Ben goes, that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be lost. And because of the scouting done with Mason Rudolph and all the rumors and that I don't believe about him having a weak arm or that he's another Bortles. He's not another Bortles. He doesn't have Bortles numbers, which I wish I had in front of me right now. But I do believe Common Football did some analytical data on him also, and I do remember seeing him. They weren't that good. So Mason looks like he's been doing the right thing for a long time, just like Baker. They got experience under their belts. They've made a lot of good passes over the years, and I think it was actually even questionable Baker versus Mason, who was a better downfield thrower in college. I mean, obviously watching Baker this year was very exciting. And if you watched our live streams, it was a great watch this year. What a great time to be a Browns fan. Thank you, Baker. And I mean that. But yeah, sorry we're so late. I think I wanted to talk about Lamar G3 a little bit too. I think, especially Stumbler, seems to think that I don't like him for some reason. And I think, when you're critical, just like, you get people, and I think the Stumbler thinks I don't like Lamar Jackson, which is not the case. And I think because I'm not a big running quarterback promoter, and a lot of people aren't. I don't, and I would never say that he's not talented because he is. One thing I really want to point out about Lamar Jackson, I don't know if anybody has said this yet. Maybe I've said it on one of our live streams and I'd forgotten. I don't know why. Yeah, that gets better. It gets better as it goes. I mean, they all do, but a lot of these beers with a lot of flavor, as you're drinking them, a lot of these flavors come out. It's impressive. It's a good time to be alive, to be honest with you. We got so many good beers to drink. Anyway, so back on Lamar Jackson. One of the things he does, I think, and I think I'm being honest when I say this, is his his quickness from a non-ready position to actually running. If I were to peg one gift on him, besides all the cool quarterback stuff he does, I think it's that. I don't think I've ever quite seen anybody move so quickly from a non-ready position, and I think you can understand what I'm saying is he's not set to run. He may be standing flat foot, or have his arm back. And it's not about decisions, it's how quickly he moves that first split second that he can gain on somebody just from that ability to move from that non-ready position. And I don't mean like starting, with your hands down like you're going to do the 40, just where your knees are bent, you have to get in that, which is impressive. Which is a natural talent that, it can't be taught, I don't believe, or nobody probably believes. But that's what really impressed me most. When I watched this stuff through college and I watched his verses, I thought he was a pretty good passing quarterback. I was a little surprised that his high school numbers were so bad. And if you probably think, well, who gives a fuck about high school? There's numbers to support that quarterbacks that are really good in high school and college go on to become some really good quarterbacks. But just to give you a rehash of Lamar's numbers, and that's pretty good in college. Those are his college numbers. But the high school kind of worries me. When you start seeing stuff like that, they start talking about he's a systems guy. He's got to be in a certain system. But I thought... watching him in his verses, he did a lot of good passing stuff, and passing didn't seem like as much of a problem in college as it did in at the pro level. Even in preseason, he showed a lot of inaccuracies that I don't recall seeing in college. And of course, is it that disparity between how quick the game is or whatever? Yeah, I think that's probably a little bit of it. So I actually kind of agree with RG3 that he's probably going to have a lot better passing year this year, and that we should be a little worried that he's going to step up his passing game a little bit. So I kind of wanted to talk about Lamar more that because I think Stumbler and others think that I don't like him. It's just more of a preference thing, to me. And it's a lot easier when you got Baker. When obviously you probably all think that Baker's a better quarterback than he is, unless you're a Ravens fan. Then you're going to side with your guy and you're going to bring out the proof that he's better than Baker because he's not as athletic, or whatever. See, I'm already, my tongue's already getting fatter. Wow. Could be something. There's something wrong with the feed. I don't think I had one person on yet, but it is late. I did start up late. It's possible they thought I wasn't going to go live, but I really like to. Anybody shows up or not, I really like doing the live thing so subscribers could pop in and not just say hi, but talk some Browns and whatever. So if you guys don't pop in, that's certainly fine too, because I'm just going to keep flattening my big ass lid. Which is why I combined the beer tester with it. That way, if nobody does show up, I'm still doing the beer test. I'm still saying the stuff I want to say about the Browns and getting it recorded, and maybe somebody will watch it after it's done. So, but I think I need to get another beer. I don't know. What do you think? Yeah. Oh, that last drink just has so much flavor. Yeah. I'm gonna go to the beer, guys. You'll have to excuse me for just a moment. Oh, my knees. Bart. It's really warm. Oh. All right. Oh, we're back. I think I'm gonna grab a quick smoke since nobody's here. I'm not dissing anybody, so I am going to grab a quick smoke, but we're going to keep going live. So if you see me not here or not see, however that goes, if I'm not sitting here, I'm here. I'm going to go a little bit more feverishly at the end there, blam, 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 because we're going big head. There you go. Again, this is a Fatheads Beam Me Up Imperial Coffee Stout. In case you're wondering, get it out of the way so I don't knock it over and break it and bash my head in. Oh, it is good. And it does. The importance of having another one, I think, is huge. Just having one, surely you could be buzzed by the time you're done with one, which may or may not be your ultimate goal, but having the second one, I really don't know how to explain it, but I don't know if it sets up your palate or it opens it up or releases it. Whatever it does, the second one really gives you a better, what would you call it? Observation of the beer, And I also do like using the same glass, I think, which sounds disgusting. But if the beer's got soul, it seems to hold the webbing better for your second beer. That just makes it that somehow it just tastes better. You got good webbing. I don't know how to explain it. No different than a beautiful girl or anything like that. But I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna smoke a cigarette, but I'll be right over there, probably still talking to you. can't. It's definitely hot in here. Got the old wood burner going. It's fucking hot. Chimes. They sound like ice cubes. Can you guys hear those? All right, here we go. So back on Dorsey. Let's talk more about Dorsey. Let's get back on Dorsey. Because I did talk about Mason and Lamar. Touched on Baker. But I did want to talk a little bit more about Dorsey and his mentality, that I think I really like. And, you know, we kind of hinted around this week that maybe Beckham and Brown aren't in our cards. And I think the media was a little turned off by that, you know, and I can't explain it other than the sensationalism of having Brown and Beckham. Not just that they're, you know, probably 1 and 2, and you can argue about which one's 1 and which one's 2, but stepping back and taking it from Dorsey's position, maybe he doesn't think Beckham or Brown are good for Baker. You know what I mean? With like a fatherly or motherly approach. You know, you ever have a son or daughter and you see him with somebody you might not want him hanging around with. You know, I wonder if it's something like that. And I don't know Brown or Beckham personally. Tweet or Facebook or any of that Snapchat or whatever. You guys probably know the stuff they come out saying, or their complaints and stuff like that, but I don't think I've heard anybody talk too much about, oh, maybe I did. Maybe I did hear some stuff about a taint in culture if we get one of these guys. But I almost wonder if it could be like a fatherly or motherly, however you want to look at it. And I'm not just saying that for equality or some shit like that. I'm just saying that, you know, seeing them hang out, you know, maybe Dorsey's like, you know, I don't know if we need that here. You know, maybe Baker's got enough distractions. Does he need that much more sensationalism around him? Does that make sense? I don't know. I just saw somebody pop on and pop off. They must have said, I'm the one guy there. I ain't fucking sitting there. But maybe you guys know what I'm talking about, and maybe I'm a jerk for saying so. Who knows? But, or maybe it's like Roach and Joe and I were talking about last week about the whole Google stock analysis that I did. That we just don't want to pay that much. Another thing that he hinted on is, you know, we're not ready to go for the gusto, which makes me refer back to that kind of Belichickian mindset of doing the right thing long term. Um, Not necessarily, I think getting Brown or Beckham would spoil us, for the long term. I mean, monetarily, I see that point, but just he likes the way things are going. He likes the way he likes the guys that he's drafted. Now, I kind of hit a wall there with my thought, my point, because of this damn beer. But that's funny, actually. That I went, duh. I just lost myself in fucking mid thought. What a pro, huh? But you know that old joke. You remember the movie Colors? Remember that Robert Duvall told Spicoli that joke with the father and son bulls that are overlooking a pasture of cattle, and the son says, hey, let's run down there and fuck one of them cattle. And the dad says, why don't we walk down and fuck them all? I think it was kind of like that kind of mentality. Dorsey, obviously that's probably not what he's thinking is that joke, but I can't help but be reminded when I hear something, or when I think of something, do some kind of dumb analogy to it. But it seems that's the, which I think is a good one. I like Dorsey. I trust him. And despite this being about starting off about Carl Nassib and getting rid of him and possibly looking for another Carl Nassib as if it was some sort of mistake, I do trust the Dorsey. We're going to start calling him the Dorsey. I think maybe we should. The Dorsey. So I did want to touch on that because I do think he is. I think everybody gets caught up on what the Patriots do when they get Josh Gordon, when they get what's his name from the Vikings, kick-ass fucking receiver. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. They remember those trades as if they dive into the abyss every year, getting some of these guys. And Dorsey seems to. I don't want to say he's copying off Belichick or anything like that, because I don't think that's the case. I think the joke, the father and son bull joke, is closer to what Dorsey's doing. Who knows? Maybe copying off Belichick, isn't the right thing to do. But just to get a nice firm hold with your office, with the culture, with the guys that you draft, not reaching, that whole thing, that whole mentality that kind of needed to stop here. Dorsey seems to be doing that. That's kind of my point. Is it Belichickian? I don't know, to be honest with you. We all know that guys go there and they perform. They do their job, which is, the old Belichick quote, fucking do your job, and everything seems to take care of itself. So, I want to talk about Kareem Hunt some more, because I really do love that. I do love that we got Kareem Hunt. Does he have to be suspended this year? What is is there rules that he has to be suspended this year? I mean, he got cut last year, so he didn't play last year. Can that be sentence enough? I don't know. Am I a jerk for even saying that because of the video that looks so vicious? How much does he have to serve? I hear the media come out and say like he has to miss at least 6 games, but where does that come from? Is that just some kind of guess? Does he have to miss any games at all? That's what I wonder. It's too bad we don't have anybody on, because I don't know, maybe I can get a different view of that, of somebody that might know what kind of rule or regulation would be in place. But that'd be nice to just have them both on the field. What do you think the linebackers are thinking? Um, when we pull up the line, we got we got the Bake Man, we got Chubb, and we got Hunt, all in the backfield. I think we need to get some NFL close-ups of the linebackers' eyes and see what the fuck they're looking at, what they're thinking, Because I am really excited about the Kareem Hunt deal, um, despite it being soured by the video and the supposed attitude and stuff like that. I just, you know, I'd like to think he's got some kind of alternate connection with Dorsey. The fact that they were both let go from, KFC, but and I'm not trying to jab KFC fans with the Hunt thing, because I'd like to think a lot of them miss him. But and you guys are welcome here. It's another thing I keep forgetting to reiterate. This is Browns talk, and this is Browns all day. But all you other football fans that like other teams, we really have a lot of great subscribers out there that aren't Browns fans, that still watch the game with us, that still articulate some of their football ideas, and we fuck around during the games, and it's great. And you guys are welcome here, because we don't just talk about Browns. Because obviously, everything, when we talk about Browns, you have to start talking about other teams, because of how the NFL works. So I encourage you, if you're not a Browns fan, you are totally welcome here. Not only just watch the live cast with us, but joust a little bit on live talk here, if you're a Bear fan or not. But all right, guys, I think I kind of said a lot of the stuff that I want. I think I almost went for an hour here. So anybody that might have chimed in and I didn't see, God bless you. Thanks for chiming in. We'll do it again next week. And I'll give you guys a shout out when I'm going to do that. Hopefully earlier. I'll give you a shout out earlier when I'm going to do it. I do like doing these late casts because it's really late, and I figure a lot of people went out, like I said, maybe had a few drinks, came home, they're having a nightcap, they want to sit and bullshit some Browns. And it's really a lot easier for me, just doing it late on the weekends, because we all work, right? All of us have jobs. So, all right, I am Rudy G. Funk. I am signing off. This is a good beer, so I'm going to give one more shout out to the Fatheads brewery that makes a pretty good fucking beer here, and I do like it. I like it a lot. I did prefer the Great Lakes oatmeal. However, this is a pretty good drink. Give it a try. Have fun. Be safe. Don't drink and drive or anything. A lot of family out there loves you. Life is really good. And I am Rudy G. Funk, and I am out. I will talk to you guys soon.